Jeff Wald of Fox 9 asked Lewis Cine about his thoughts on his big game performance against the Cleveland Browns in the second preseason game and his chance at making the 53-man roster, as this video is brought to you by BetUS Sportsbook and Casino. Cine emphasized in that 2-minute clip that Wald posted on Twitter, Cine emphasized the word healthy twice. In fact, one of the direct quotes we have here from Cine says, quote, "I'm not oblivious to knowing this is a business at the end of the day, but I'm confident in myself. A healthy me is a dangerous me." That's all I can say about that. And certainly his game against the Browns was noteworthy. He had 11 tackles, 5 solos, a sack, a tackle for loss, a pass breakup, 2 quarterback hits, and the interception. He was amazing. However, and I've seen the discourse, a couple of headlines as far as, wow, has Lewis Cine done enough to make this roster now? It's one thing to just draft a guy or sign an undrafted free agent, a guy that just came from college, just arrived on the Vikings and instantly started making plays in training camp and preseason, turning heads. Hey, maybe there's something there. Or even if there's, let's say you sign a free agent, a guy that didn't meet expectations with his former team, but just arrives with the Vikings and start instantly making plays. Oh, maybe there's something there. There's a difference between that and a guy that's been under your own roof, who prior to this year spent the previous 2 years collecting dust, and then has a moment out of nowhere to say, oh, maybe there's something there. No, there's not. That Lewis Cine emphasized healthy. I'm healthy now, so you're about to see what I'm about. Respectfully, in 2022, before you got hurt, you played in 34 snaps on special teams compared to 2 snaps on defense. That's before you got hurt. Last year, you were fully healthy. 84 snaps on special teams, 8 snaps on defense. In fact, Lewis Cine, you were so healthy that you were a healthy scratch in 10 out of the 17 games last year. It's not about you being healthy. You were cleared to play. It's deeper than that. Can you figure out the playbook? And mind you, those previous 2 years were under 2 different defensive coordinators. And in both situations, you were buried at the bottom of the depth chart. And now we're really sitting here saying, oh, maybe he's going to make the team. I would be shocked if he makes this roster, because this team is so deep at so many different positions. Mind you, there's going to be cuts that maybe you say, wow, I didn't see that coming, or I thought he did enough to earn a spot, but he's really not going to make this team. That's how deep this 90-man roster is right now. And when they cut it down to 53, whose spot is Lewis Cine taking? Like, are you going to sacrifice the depth of offensive line with Dalton Reisner for Lewis Cine? Dwight McGlothern? Taki Taimani? Like who's going to... Gabe Murphy, I know he's been hurt. I don't think there's any room for guys that are just there. I think that time is up with him. I certainly wish him the best, but I just don't see it happening. Especially at the safety position. I mean, my goodness, the best safety room in the league, I would argue. I don't see where's the opportunity for Lewis Cine to make an impact for this team. I just don't see it happening. He had a moment, but it's too late. This week's bet that I'm still trying to figure out a name for this segment. I'm done with the preseason because I got screwed over in that Browns game when I said go with the under. That was 36.5 points, and that fake-ass defensive pass interference they called on Bobby McCain that led to the BS touchdown by the Browns. That's what made all the difference right there. I'm done with the preseason. However, going back to an overall season bet for this team. You know what? Give me Justin Jefferson at plus 900 to win Offensive Player of the Year. Sam Darnold, Cam Darnold, Hey Arnold, don't matter who the quarterback is, Jefferson is going to go all the way off and will have yet again another exceptional season. We know how impressive it was last year for him, still managing to go over 1,000 yards despite missing 7 games. But what I find equally as impressive is upon his return, Kirk Cousins is no longer in the picture. He's out for the year. Nick Mullins is his quarterback. Upon his return, in 5 games, Justin Jefferson, 503 yards. So still averaged over 100 yards per game and 2 total touchdowns. Now translate that into a 17-game healthy season. And if this converts into wins where you're helping the team possibly be in the playoff picture, where I do argue that everything has to go right and this largely rests on Sam Darnold. Can you take care of the football? That if everything goes right, this team, even without JJ McCarthy, I can see them winning 11 games. So if you're in at least the conversation of making it into the playoffs, Jefferson clearly the MVP of this team. Plus 900 Offensive Player of the Year for Jefferson. I like that bet a lot. Sign up for BetUS Sportsbook and Casino. Get a 125% bonus on your first 3 deposits up to $2,000. Lastly, I want to end with a segment that I also need to come up with a name with. Just came up with this idea anyway today. Minnesota Vikings Hot Takes, brought to you by the national media. We've got Mike Tannenbaum, who on ESPN yesterday came up with the idea that the Vikings should trade for Russell Wilson, saying, quote, a win-win here is to trade Russell Wilson to Minnesota. I think he's a better quarterback than Sam Darnold. They certainly can battle it out. At this point, it's just a waste of energy to even break down how silly takes like these are. So it's like, I'll just make fun of it. Follow creators, beat writers, reporters who specifically focus on the Vikings, because nobody who intensely follows the Vikings and covers the Vikings, no one is saying anything as silly as what Mike Tannenbaum just said yesterday. Yeah, Russell Wilson, the Vikings should give up capital to trade for Russell Wilson, who they could have signed without having to give anything up after the Denver Broncos cut him. They could have signed him on the cheap, but now, oh no, they should trade for Russell Wilson after a preseason game, having the whole offseason to work with the Pittsburgh Steelers. His preseason game, 8 completions out of 10 attempts for, get this, 47 yards, and got sacked 3 times. Oh yeah, him and Sam Darnold. By the way, they brought in Sam Darnold with the option of maybe bringing in Russell Wilson to have Sam Darnold as the bridge quarterback. Well, guess what? JJ McCarthy, I know he's hurt. It sucks for the Vikings, but that's what you have the bridge quarterback for. Nobody who seriously covers this team is saying anything like that. Minnesota Vikings Hot Takes, brought to you by the national media. Thanks again to the folks at BetUS Sportsbook and Casino. We'll see you tomorrow.